Welcome to the Hidden Orchard podcast, a radical exploration of spirituality, science, and the Bible from a Jewish perspective. Each week we'll look at a new topic and dive deep into the texts that inspire and enrich our lives. So whether you're a seasoned expert or just curious about a topic, there's something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and we'll get to today's episode in a bit. But first, if you haven't done so, visit thehiddenorchard.com and subscribe. It's free, and you'll receive access to content and weekly emails. There you can also subscribe for a paid membership and get access to everything on the site and be the first to hear about online study opportunities where you can meet and interact with other people on the journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have an idea for a topic, reach out to me at thehiddenorchard.com. Now let's get to today's episode. Just so you're aware, this is the second part of a two-part series where we looked at the similarities between science and the Jewish tradition regarding the soul's journey after life. In part one, we looked at near-death experiences, some of the science around these ideas, and how the tradition explains the soul's journey as it transitions outside of the world of physicality. In this episode, we will look at what the tradition has to say about what comes next. Jewish tradition indicates that the soul's transition from the physical to the spiritual world actually occurs in stages. Some souls sense the change, immediately gaining peace and a new perception outside of time and space. Other accounts indicate that a soul may be delayed in this transition. They may not perceive it for quite a while. Generally, these are people who are caught off guard by the entire experience, having not spent much time pondering or considering the afterlife. Another way this can occur is through a deeply imbalanced attachment to the physical world and its pleasures. In what I gather are rare cases, there might have been a person who didn't realize they had transitioned or passed away at all until someone with a heightened degree of spiritual perception was able to sense them and somehow notify them that they are no longer among the living. Jewish tradition has stories like this. Probably a more common reason for a delayed transition is when the soul is no longer bound by the body and it becomes immediately engulfed in what's called the ethereal body. Known in Hebrew as the guf dak, this is an energy field that is comprised of the after effects of our thoughts, our words, and our deeds. In other words, this field is made up of the spiritual and emotional residue of how one lived their life. If one spends a lot of time in the thresholds of anger, jealousy, judgment, greed, etc., there may need to be more time to rebalance this field. However, if someone spends their time in joy and gratitude, we can imagine this transition is lessened significantly. This should give us pause to consider how the content of our environment may actually be unhealthy for us in the here and now, but may also create problems in the afterlife. For instance, living in constant fear or worry will surely damage our physical health, but also create spiritual trouble for us down the road and will have to be rectified at some point. In addition, we should strive to bring awareness and intention to our day-to-day thought processes, helping us refine our spiritual and emotional quality. The more we refine ourselves in this world, the less refinement we will need when we leave it. The first judgment. Numerous times throughout Jewish tradition, we are told that our transition to the world of souls begins with some form of interrogation, inquiring into the nature of how we spent our earthly existence. Remember, outside of time and space, all of history can be viewed at once. Thus, it's assumed that the angels who are holding court already know the answers to the questions they will ask us. To me, it seems this first stage might be more of a calibration, a way of gauging what degree of connection our soul still has with the physical world. In the Kabbalistic work, The Gates of Holiness, we read, "At the time of a person's passing, the angel of death asks them, 'Did you engage in Torah study and acts of kindness? Did you crown your Maker over you every morning and evening? Did you crown your fellow over yourself as your superiors and with a pleasant spirit?'" This first judgment review focuses on the content of one's time and these relationships with the Creator and our fellow people. Whether or not we studied Torah, how many acts of kindness we carried out, or if we sought peace and humility before God and humankind. That's the gist of what we're asked in this first judgment. The second judgment is known as Chibut HaKever, or the torment in the grave. This stage is another gateway to purification that generally every soul must go through, righteous or otherwise. We've explored this idea before, and at the Hidden Orchard project, you can go back, follow the show notes, and see an article where we deep dive into this, particularly as it's mentioned in the Gospel of Luke through the story of Lazarus and the rich man. Nevertheless, in this experience, the soul is metaphorically shaken like a rug to remove any remaining impurity from the various transgressions and errors made in life. It seems that the degree and intensity of this experience are directly proportional to the amount of accrued impurity. The more errors we make, the more impurity we take in, the more time we spend in purification. Assuming one spent their time wisely, there may be very little to clear away at this stage. Rabbi Chaim Vital writes, "What then shall a person do to be saved from the torment in the grave? Engage in Torah study, love charity, accept rebuke, do acts of kindness, and they should welcome Torah scholars and guests into their home and provide for them, and also pray with devotion." These more or less outline the fundamentals of Jewish practice and Jewish life, the third judgment. In the third stage of judgment, we're told that now we're asked by the Creator if we engaged in Torah study and acts of loving kindness. Throughout this process, one experiences a comprehensive life review. What's most fascinating to me is that the tradition tells us we will review our lives in a kind of third-person perspective, where we preside as our own judge. Somehow, in this experience, our soul will view our current identity, who we are today, from a third person. Rabbi Dov Ber Pinson writes, "Following the journey through life, one is shown a recording of an anonymous life. It is as if they are watching a film. They are then asked to pass judgment on how that person spent his life. Once judgment is given, the soul is informed that he was the one starring in that picture, which was, of course, the story of his very own life. This is instructive, which gives new meaning to love others as you love yourself. From this point on, the soul is presented with several options regarding their next destination. For the sake of simplicity, and possibly something we will talk about in another episode, we'll limit our focus to two of the many options. The two are the spiritual Garden of Eden and Gehenna. Righteous souls are immersed before entering the Garden of Eden. Righteous souls are immersed in some kind of a supernatural way before entering the spiritual Garden of Eden, which is the place they came from before entering into this existence. Souls routed through Gehenna will undergo a period of purification before joining the prior group. Again, a topic for a future article. Gehenna seems to only be an option for the souls that have carried out at least one mitzvah. Many have erroneously believed that our good and bad deeds are weighed out on a scale at the end of life, and the good or the bad cancel each other out, leaving us with the remaining sum. And it's that remaining sum that we are judged upon. Tradition teaches that we are rewarded for each separately. That means if we carried out one mitzvah, we will be able to eventually receive the reward for that, but we will also have to pay off all of the negative that we've done before. And that is why there are these various stages of purification. In conclusion, I hope this tradition provides us with more hopeful and a constructive outlook on life and the afterlife. The ultimate goal throughout this entire process is not to torment or incarcerate wayward souls indefinitely. Instead, we find we are carefully guided along a path of correction and restoration. God assists us in this journey to become the best version of ourselves that we can be. With this knowledge, we might find strength to appreciate the challenges we face and recognize our opportunities to show mercy and kindness to others along the way. We should learn to develop humility and seek to learn about the ways of God frequently. What a beautiful life review it will be when we're given the chance to see our acts of kindness from another's perspective. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this topic. Remember, you can find more information at thehiddenorchard.com. If you liked what you heard, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. We don't really engage in marketing, so it's word of mouth and references like that that really help spread the word. Also, I want to say thank you to those who subscribe to the site and those who support the Hidden Orchard Project financially. Without you, it wouldn't be possible, so thank you. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.